Chapter 9, Social Networking, Part 1 of 3, an overview. The learning outcomes include: review the social networking sites with the most users, demonstrate how engagement is an important element of social media, summarize how social networks operate, show how people use social networks as an online community. Let's take a look at some of the relevant social networking sites, starting with the big one, Facebook. Facebook had 2.16 billion users, with many of those users engaged and interacting with the app on a daily basis. That's impressive, isn't it? But wait a minute. Google actually has more accounts at 2.2 billion, but only a small percentage of them engage with the social networking site. If you look at Google searches, however, it's a place where you will find a lot of your users, like me. And if you add in the billion or so Gmail accounts held, again, it's an app you can't ignore. The next group of apps all have over 1 billion users. Leading the way is YouTube. It's definitely social media, but not thought of in similar ways as Facebook and Twitter. As someone marketing products or services or messages of an organization, YouTube should not be ignored. Many undergrads and recent graduates don't get cable or satellite TV anymore, but opt for Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Sling, all supplemented with YouTube content. Ignore YouTube and the newer YouTube TV at your own peril. Facebook can't get enough of the high rankings, can they? Facebook Messenger boasts 1.3 billion users. If you're on Facebook, you probably use Messenger at least occasionally. How about WhatsApp? It's just for young people, right? 1.3 billion young users, that is. Marketers must ensure that they're reaching their users wherever they happen to be. You might be surprised at the next two. Instagram, 800 million users, and Tumblr. Instagram has moved up in the world with the launch of Stories, designed to compete with Facebook and Twitter. Tumblr is noted for short blogs and commentary, and you have the ability to follow users and topics. With 794 million users, it almost has the same number of users as Instagram. Twitter leads the next group of apps with 330 million users. Twitter moves topics up, and as they become more popular, a hashtag may become a trending topic. Wouldn't you like a hashtag that positively portrays your company? Get your online marketers on the ball and make sure they know where your users are. The next app obviously is Skype. Yes, 300 million people use Skype. It's often overlooked when trying to engage your users and customers. It shouldn't be overlooked. LinkedIn follows with about 260 million users focused on work networks. That's where I do my best to keep my resume updated and my information accurate and current. I don't use LinkedIn as much as others, but it depends on your industry and your need to network to get a new job or move up in your current job. Snapchat is next with 255 million users, with a young user base and high levels of engagement. You can't afford to neglect newer apps where young users flock. Young users today are your customers tomorrow. And Reddit has about 250 million users as well. But how many organizations engage their users on Reddit, where you can find threads on most anything you want to read? How about Pinterest? Do you use it? It boasts about 250 million users. I find myself going down a wormhole when I look at Pinterest. I originally go to look at kitchen remodeling examples and then find myself learning how to cook chicken parmesan, only vaguely aware of how I got there, and unaware of the time that has gone by. Have you done that before? That phenomena where we go online to do one thing and get completely wrapped up in other things, sometimes for hours at a time, is called the state of flow. It's where engagement is high and your ability to find the information you need is also high. You get so interested and wrapped up that you forget the time that has elapsed. The state of flow is where you want your customers to be, losing time as they engage with your services and products. While all of these numbers are important, don't ignore your global market. Baidu and other tools are chosen by about 1 billion Chinese users. That's 1 billion people who may not know about you. You need to reach them as well. The number of users for a particular social media app varies, depending on who you ask. Here you can see social media users in 2016. Facebook is still the big guy with 1.6 billion people, but the graphic demonstrates the influence of YouTube with 1 billion viewers. Another review of monthly users shows that YouTube, with 1.5 billion monthly users, is second to Facebook with over 2 billion monthly users. However, this graphic includes some newer arrivals like WhatsApp and Snapchat. WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger are third with 1.2 billion monthly users. Again, if you are hoping to sell your product or promote your ideas, you cannot overlook social media opportunities. It's useful to look at ways that people engage with your app. If someone is a lurker and just goes on and looks around without posting, they may not be engaged. Or perhaps you need to find video content that would entice them to like or share, or at least to view it. Are people going to look for customer comments on social media before they make a purchase? Yes, 93% of online customers check social media before they make a purchase. Think about it. Do you check for reviews prior to posting? I would contend that Amazon may compete with Facebook for customer engagement. I always read reviews before making a purchase, and I leave reviews and answer questions for others, too. Although not a traditional social media site, most companies sell products through Amazon in some form or other. The other day, I bought a bookcase on Amazon, and it arrived in a box from Walmart. Don't lose customers because you're not looking for them wherever they are. In general, people engage 25% more with brands on Instagram as opposed to other social media sites. If you're looking for money, and most organizations are, Pinterest users spend 15 times more than Facebook users. I know where I'd want to put pictures of my products. When photos are posted, customers are 180% more engaged than when other posts. So put some pictures out there for your customers. Finally, use emojis. You will see a 33% increase in comments if you do. You should make sure that the emojis translate similarly on different phones and operating systems, and make sure they are logical. Sometimes I try to figure out what someone meant with an emoji, and I need a magnifying glass to try to make a determination. One way to measure mobile user engagement is by looking at the minutes that users engage with a social media app in a day. Facebook again comes in first, claiming 30.3 minutes of user engagement per day, while Snapchat is second at 8.5 minutes, and YouTube is third with 8 minutes, followed by Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Let's take a closer look at Snapchat on the next slide. Snapchat touts its engaged users, claiming 173 million people use the app daily. 70% of its users are under 35 years old. Want to engage with younger potential customers? Don't go to Facebook. That's for parents to use. Look at Snapchat, which boasts 7 billion video postings and 2.5 billion snaps a day. Its users visit the site 18 times a day on average and spend 25 to 35 minutes per day on the app. Notice that this number of minutes does not match the previous slide. Different methodologies, different timing, and different sources of data lead to different interpretations. Snapchat went public with lots of hype in March 2017 after being started in the founder's father's garage in 2011. Since then, it has shown disappointing growth, losing customers with the creation of Instagram Stories feature, which works similarly to Snapchat. Incidentally, let's make one more point about Snapchat. The videos disappear in 5 seconds, right? And they're gone forever. Or are they? Your friend may video your video or take a picture. And let's face it, you never say permanently deleted when you're talking about something shared online. If it's shared, you lose all claims to privacy. Snapchat was initially used by teens, some of whom wanted to share racy photos with their boy or girlfriends. These videos can be retrieved. The only way to maybe permanently destroy data is to keep it local, never share it or upload it to the cloud, and take a hammer to the hard drive when you remove it. That's what the Sandy Hook shooter did with his computer, and I don't believe the FBI was ever able to retrieve data he only stored locally. Of course, the best thing is simply don't keep racy photos. If you do, keep them locally only and never share with anyone. Don't trust the people you share anything with. They may do whatever they want once you send them a photo. Your boyfriend or wife or mom or whoever might not be as trustworthy as you think. Another report shows that Facebook has 1.55 billion people who visit it each month, with over 1 billion people on Facebook every day. 900 million people are on WhatsApp each month, and we haven't even talked much about them. Are you familiar with the app? I've had student groups who use WhatsApp because of its ease of use and flexibility. You might want to take a look at it if you don't already use it. Again, we need to find our customers or donors or supporters or whoever you want to reach, and to do that, we need to know where they are. You notice that the numbers don't match exactly once more, and it depends on the methodology and what you're trying to show with the data. So we've been talking about social networking, and we've mentioned many sites that may qualify as online communities. These sites eliminate time, distance, and culture, and can help users become closer virtually to people who are different from us. Social networks certainly allow people to share opinions, insights, and interests, and people share opinions all the time. Keep in mind, for instance, that most newspaper reporting is an editorial format and is opinion. You also know which friends are going to get into a friendly discussion or a shouting match about political candidates or other noteworthy topics. Treat all news as opinion until you back it up with multiple reliable sources. Well, how do you determine reliable? Where are you going to go to sites for the facts? Not one side or the other, but both sides. For instance, maybe you look at what the New York Times generally leans more liberal, what they reported about a political candidate, and then compare to the Wall Street Journal, which generally leans more conservative. Often, the underlying facts are the same, but may be interpreted differently. Don't simply assume that one or the other is right or wrong. Do the research and reach your own conclusions. But you must read both sides to do that and try to find commonalities. Assume posts on Facebook are opinion pieces and don't share unless they are from valid sources. Use the social networks to develop new personal and professional relationships or to make deeper personal and professional relationships that you might be unable to do due to geographical or mobility limitations. My 80-year-old mom, who is computer phobic, always knows everything that is going on with Facebook. She didn't want to use it at first and didn't want to use a Kindle. I set up her Kindle before I gave it to her and made her a Gmail account and a Facebook account. She presses a button and she's on. She doesn't get out much, so it's her way to have a support network and stay involved with what her friends and others are doing. To summarize, social media offers an opportunity to set up an online community and network with friends, families, customers, groups, potential customers, etc. Businesses must not neglect opportunities to attract new customers and retain existing customers through social networks. Unhappy customers are likely to voice their opinion on social media. You need to get ahead of this problem and be responsive to your customers. Find where your customers are located and go where they are. Don't overlook smaller players, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Tumblr, particularly for the younger millennials who expect products and services to be available quickly online. You don't want to lose this group of people who are technologically savvy and ready to engage online.